Okay, and here we are. Welcome to On the Game with the Wild Boar. Just Ben with me here today. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Um, we are going to be talking about a myriad of things. I was going to kick things off with I've been playing extensively Alien Isolation, which I know you're probably never going to play, Ben. To be honest.
That is a safe assumption.
Well, I came into it. I don't know if you read any of the reviews or anything about it before it came out, but it got pretty, I'd say, dire to average reviews with an odd few like 5-star kind of reviews. But generally speaking, I think it was a bit of a disappointment for people.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on reviews that you read on most sites is that I think that once sites become kind of commercial, there's a bunching of pretty much every game is kind of bunched between a 7 and a 9, more or less. Games that shouldn't be, I mean, it's probably a topic for another time, but games that shouldn't be highly rated, like, the annual Call of Duty or FIFA, reskinning, they quite often get a 9 or a 10, whereas games that are a bit more original but maybe aren't as polished, they'll still get like 7s or 8s kind of thing. But you very rarely see anything that's kind of 4 or 5 or 6 or even below. So I saw a few Alien Isolation reviews that were, sort of, what were they, like 5s maybe?
Yeah, there's a few 9s and all that stuff thrown around. I mean,
oh, really? Wow, real mix. But
yeah.
to see that kind of like raise my eyebrows a little bit, because I wasn't expecting that from major sites and things. So it was quite interesting. And some of the criticism, I mean, obviously you can tell us because you played it now, but as in some of the stuff that I saw was that there's a good kind of central premise, but there's a few kind of mechanics where it suddenly becomes cheap, like the alien can just appear in a box next to you or whatever. Like if you're in the air vents or something, it can spawn behind you or something. Not in a box though. And
That's what's the Gear Solid style.
yeah, like some Paul Daniels trick.
Yeah.
It's magic. But that also that it was one of these games, and yet again another great topic for a discussion in future podcasts. One of these games that stretched out beyond all kind of belief to warrant a full price, rather than it could just be like an 8-hour game on down. Yeah. It has to be a 24-hour game to warrant filling a disc of repetitive levels and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to just briefly run through what I'd heard before I picked it up. One and a couple of points you mentioned on. One is that a lot of people said it was really difficult, which I understand, because at the end of the day, this alien is walking around, you can't kill it or anything like that. It does kind of appear out of nowhere as well, but okay. The thing is that there are tells, so if you hear that little of your sensor, then you know that it's picked up something moving. So that's usually the first sign that something's coming your way. You'll hear things in the vents above you. So once you start hearing that, usually you kind of cover for a bit, check your sensor, see what's going on, and also if you look, sometimes you'll see like goo dripping down from a vent, and if you go near it, it will snatch you up and take you. So
lovely.
Yeah. I should say. So I started it. I'm playing the game on easy. I'm not doing the normal difficulty. I'm doing the easy difficulty for the simple fact that I went in hearing that it was quite difficult, and I haven't found it particularly difficult, but it's good for me, if that makes sense. So like, it's still proving challenge enough, and because at the end of the day, the principle and the basics still the same. You're still having to hide from this thing and other things and whatever's on the ship. So in terms of that, it's not like that difficulty has gone down or increased or anything. I mean, maybe it has, I don't know. But I've got a lot of weapons and arsenal, and I'm picking up a lot of items on the way. But the thing is, I rarely use them. Most of the time, I'm one of those people. It's like almost like a hoarder kind of problem, whereby I pick stuff up as I go along, and I rarely use it because I'm really scared that it's gonna, I'm gonna need.
Come back, you won't get more of it.
Exactly, I'm gonna need it further down the line. I think it stems from like, the Silent Hills and Resident Evils and all this stuff, survival horror, which is essentially what this is. And So, but now I'm just like I'm finding loads of stuff, and I'm like, well, I haven't used anything, so everything's maxed out. Like I've got the maximum capacity for everything. So it's but even though you've got all that stuff, you're still having to hide from this alien, and it can appear out of nowhere. The only infuriating thing is that sometimes you never know when it's truly gone. It never truly goes anyway. So sometimes it'll run off, and then you think, right, is it safe? And you'll get out, and then you'll go try and do something, and then you can hear it, and you're like, okay, then you run back and you hide, and then you're not sure if it's there, and then you're like, well, if I get out now, it's going to turn up, sod's law. And so there's a little bit of that, but then I think that's kind of part of it. That's part of why I'm enjoying it.
I'm going to be honest, if I played that game, I would never leave the first cupboard you found, and I'd just be there, be like, I've played this game for 40 hours, I'm still in a cupboard. Why? I don't like it.
Well, the thing is, that would probably happen because until you actually do what you've got to do, it will just keep kind of circling. Because I thought maybe because the first time I played it, I think the first couple of missions I put on Twitch, I was just waiting in the locker, thinking, Harry, will he ever go? And the answer is no, he never goes. So it kind of forces you to have to like come out of that spot. And I know a lot of people say no, there's not enough save points, but I thought they were pretty regular, to be honest. I mean, there was a few times where it's like, oh, I'm dead. Then you think, oh my god, I have to start all the way back here. But it was never like, you're only like 10 minutes away or something like that. So it's annoying, but it's not world destroying or something like that. And also, it kind of, when you get so far along, you're kind of aware that you've got to find a save point soon, and you can hear, like, if you can't see it on your map, you can hear a certain like dinging sound, and that means you're near one. So you go and search out for that. And what's also great is that when you go to save, there's like a 3 or 4 second gap between when you go to save and when you can actually save. So, and in that 3 or 4 seconds, if anything's behind you, it'll kill you. Why would you want it? It just heightens the tension because you're like, come on, hurry, and that's pretty much the whole thing. It's really exhausting to play because, so I'm like, I think I'm on mission 15, 16, and there's 19 missions, so I'm really close to the end now. And I'd say it's taken me about 8 hours or so far, maybe 9.
You're speeding through it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm speeding through it a bit, but I've only been stuck really a couple of times, and
okay. That's really strange. I heard it was much longer than that.
Yeah, I think it is, and I also think because I've got the difficulty down, and maybe it's just like the way I play it or something like that, because I'm a bit more.
You are quite fast through them. I remember you telling me about Last of Us being an 11-hour game, and I got about 14 hours into it, and I was nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few times where it's like, I know I'm supposed to kind of do X, Y, Z, and I just, because the thing is, it got to, when you first see the alien, it's like, fuck, okay, and you're really like scared and whatever. And then after a while, like now, I'm just like, I kind of don't think about it. I don't run, because if they run, it hears you. But like, I just kind of go through and kind of get on with it a bit. And also, I've got a flamethrower now, so if I see him, I can scare him off with some fire, and that's fine, basically. And then I go off to the next bit and a strategy for kind of doing it. But I know a lot of people like, oh, it gets really boring and you die all the time and it finds you, and I'm just thinking, are they just a bit shit? Like, it hasn't found me. Like when it's crawling around the room, there's a whole thing about the AI of the alien, like it learns what you do and all this stuff. It's like, no, it doesn't really. Like, I hide in the lockers and whatever. It's not like I'm watching it thinking, oh, it's super smart. It's like, no, it just peers stuff. It's just like any monster, like it's like Nemesis kind of thing. I don't know if that's making any sense. But generally speaking, I am quite enjoying it, especially compared to the Evil Within, which I felt, there's like 100 ways of doing stuff. With this, it's literally hide for a bit, press your button, do something different. But I just love the world, like the ship that it's created, and it's all very much like Alien. But now it does feel a little bit like, there's a bit of padding basically in the middle. Some good padding in some bits, but yeah, I mean, it could be made a bit shorter, and especially it's like essentially you're hiding like Outlast, which is very similar to in that respect. It's like 6 or 7 hours,
Yeah,
long, and that felt enough. I didn't really want it to go on any longer.
That's enough.
Yeah, but with this, it's like it's quite tiring to play because each room that you go in, you're just like you're looking for. First thing you kind of do is look for any stuff, look for hiding points, and see if you can hear for a safe point, and then you're just kind of going over and over and over again. You use your motion detector like all the time. So it's good for that, but yeah, I mean it is a little bit samey, and it's kind of playing on one thing. But at the moment, like I'm enjoying it. It's not an amazing game. I'd be hard pushed to say it's a great game, but it's definitely not as bad as what people think. I think people are thinking. I don't know what they were expecting really, because.
Are you going to review it for the site?
Yeah, I will. Once I finish it.
You got a score.
Yeah, I'll give it a score then. But so stay tuned. But for people who are kind of on the fence about it, I think do it, but do it under easy. I wouldn't want to challenge myself any more than I need to, it's like, yeah, it's like I don't want to die like 100 times and stuff like this. I was saying in the last one with Dark Souls and all this stuff. It's like I like playing through the story. I'm enjoying it as I'm playing it now. If it was any more difficult or anything like that, I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah, I definitely feel about that about lots of games. Like, just can't be bothered.
Exactly.
I don't really want the challenge. I just want to get through the story.
Yeah, I mean the story in this one isn't that great. It's good enough. It holds up, and it kind of. There's a lot of like you've got to get over here to push this button. You're like fucking hell, it's all the way over the other side. Right, fine. You kind of work your way through, and you press it, and it's like, oh, you need to do this first. All right, okay. Go over there, and you do, and it's basically that over and over and over again. But there's some quite cool little set pieces that kind of break it up. And generally speaking, just like there was some bits. There's one amazing bit where like I was hiding in a stairwell. So the thing is, what's great about the motion thing sensor is that you don't know. It's got no terms of like if it's above you, below you, like in Aliens when it's like they're above us, man. Oh my god! And they come through the roof. It's like that in the sense that you can't tell if they're above you or below you. So when you're in the stairwell, you're like, fucking hell, where is it? It could be anywhere. And there's one bit where I turned a corner. And there's like loads of smoke and all this stuff, and I just saw the alien's head just come through this like mist. I was like, "Fuck, that was really good." I was like, "That was proper." That's like something from Alien. That's great. So yeah, I quite like it, and but yeah, I wouldn't if you don't like survival horror, then I wouldn't bother. And if you don't like those kind of on edge of your seats, just anything that's a bit exhausting to play in that sense, then. And if you don't like Alien, then don't bother. And you really won't like it.
No, it's not my thing. No, thank you.
Well, I mean, watch the first couple of... Watch probably the second thing on Twitch, or I think it's on YouTube as well. And that'll give you more of a sense of it. But yeah, I quite like it. But yeah, I'm not going to play it again, put it that way.
I think in terms of sneaking around and being afraid, I think Splinter Cell is about my limit in computer games, where I'm kind of semi-comfortable to play through it and have to kind of live on the edge of my pants. But yeah, anything else, I'm just, don't find it fun.
No. I mean, the fact that this is like insta-kill is just, it's quite annoying. But, I don't know, it's quite cool. But you've got these, like, the only thing that really annoys me is you've got these synthetics, the robots, and sometimes they're friendly, sometimes they're not, and you can't do like sneak attacks on them, and they're like, but you can run away from them, and they're just really irritating. And I know that's kind of their point and why they've been put in there. But sometimes you're just like, God, just fuck, like shotgun to the face. It's like, come on, die.
Are they helping the aliens then?
Oh, it's.
Don't worry.
The story. Well, because I'm getting to the end now, everything's kind of kicked off a bit, and it's all going crazy. But yeah, it's good. There's one bit in the middle where you go back to like the ship of the first Alien film, and you're kind of walking around there, and that was really cool. Just feeling like you're in it. yeah. Anyway, that's my Alien Isolation. So if you're
Nice.
thinking about getting it, I mean, I think you can get it for about 25, 30 quid now if you looked around, second hand or something. Yeah, just if you're into that kind of thing, I would definitely check it out, but just do it on easy. Don't bother with normal or difficult unless you really want to, go through some pain. So
Some
yeah,
people like that.
some people do like that. So what have you been doing?
Well, you won't want to know, but basically Destiny. Been playing Destiny, Sam. So
Destiny is your destiny.
that's it. I have started another character, so there it is. Basically, I wanted to see what the other characters are like to play as, and they're different enough to make it entertaining. And going through some of the story at low levels is quite interesting, rather than the kind of um, aimless nonsense that I'm kind of doing with my higher level character, because it's so difficult to get access to like the final thing I need to do, which is the raid, like the final challenge in the game. That we thought, okay, well, I may as well just, while I'm kind of waiting for Bungie to fix that, I'll or enable that matchmaking kind of thing. Then I will start another character, and it's quite fun actually, to be fair. So been
What have
doing.
you gone with?
So I was Warlock, and I've started a Hunter. Yeah, and it's cool. It's good. It's good fun. What were you in the beta?
Can't remember. I was the one that you said everyone else was.
Yeah, Hunter.
Hunter.
They're very prevalent in PvP and multiplayer, to a ridiculous extent, I think. But I've now got to a level where I don't need to do that anymore, so I'm quite happy, which is quite good. But yeah, I'm having fun with it, and I'll probably end up starting the third type, just to run through. I mean, I'm pretty much halfway through the story in about 4 hours. Actually, that's maybe a little bit unfair because I've been skipping some things to go back to later. But yeah, you don't have to spend the ridiculous amounts of time I've spent on my main character to level. And I think one of the advantages of doing second thing is that you can game the system a little bit, in that there are certain daily challenges that you can do with each character to get twice the reward kind of thing. Whereas and you can also like swap weapons and armor and all that kind of stuff between your characters, so you can kind of help yourself out. So my second character has been benefited by a lot of like pass me down weapons from the first and everything. So kind of like doing really well and not having to ever kind of like grind, because you've got all these you've got a constant stream of like high level weapons and engrams coming down from the top level character, and you just pass them over to yourself, and it's like, okay, cheers. That's it just saves you having to do anything like repetitive, really. So it's quite cool. It's good. And what else? Oh, Final Fantasy VI. So I said I'd started it last time. I've actually further than I've ever been. So I think I got about 6 hours into it originally.
Okay.
Can you remember anything about it?
No, I remember the opening, but not really much else, because it kind of swaps around a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, you go between different characters. So I mean, I'd got to the point where you'd basically decided to fight for the freedom fighters last time round, and pretty much just stopped after that. And this time I'm kind of much further on. So you carry on with those guys for a little bit, and then they all kind of split up, and you kind of go through their different scenarios, like one group over this side of the world, another one. I think in terms of the whole game, I'm probably nowhere near anything, but I'm probably about 8 hours into it now, and it's really enjoying it. It's quite funny, even for a kind of like pixel-based little game like that. It's fantastic. It really, it's good fun. It's good fun. It's well made. The action's quite enjoyable. There's a little bit of grinding probably necessary if you want to kind of go through it easily without being decimated by certain boss fights you hit. But I suppose that's Final Fantasy generally, isn't it? But yeah, that's quite good. And some of the music, I mean, obviously we were chatting about that last time, but some of the music's fantastic, like which we haven't heard at Distant Worlds concerts and stuff. But yeah, some of it's really good.
Yeah, it's funny when he Ubiotto Yoshimo, whatever his name was. God, that sounds racist. Got up to do the intro track. Yeah, it's really weird, like hearing him and his little synth. With this orchestra behind and the 8-bit thing behind.
What I liked was that occasionally they obviously had like the sort of, what was it, the London, I can't remember the name, like this rather serious kind of London-based orchestral, what was the Philharmonic concert orchestra and an associated choir, and some of the guys from the choir, because they weren't singing in, or they weren't being used in every track, well, actually very few of them, but occasionally there was a couple of guys on the end that were kind of looking up at the screen. And I mean, obviously any music from the later Final Fantasies, like there was a lot from 10, wasn't there, and a little bit from 12 and 14 and that kind of stuff, and you're seeing kind of like pretty much like CG humans, aren't you, like sort of running around, and even some of the Final Fantasy 7 stuff, because they kind of like slightly mix it in with like the Advent Children thing, which makes it look more advanced than it was. But you're kind of showing that, and then they're thinking, oh, okay, it's cool, this is like soundtrack to pretty much like a playable film. And then at certain tracks, especially when that guy came on and was doing his little keyboard stuff, the guy was looking up and they're seeing all these like 8-bit dudes running around on the screen. It's just so funny. Like, I wonder what the hell they're kind of like thinking of it going. I mean, well, they're getting paid for it, so it doesn't really matter.
From an outside perspective,
it's quite funny to kind of like put yourself in their shoes for a second, like looking up, going, "What the hell am I doing?" Like, yeah, it's good fun though. Yeah, and that segues nicely onto a Twitter question we've fielded from. Let me find Twitter.
Alex Wright, but yeah, what's his?
Right, so AliBoy81 at AliBoy81 there.
Yeah.
He said, following Distant Worlds gig, do you guys have any favourite game soundtracks that you listen to when not playing games? So the examples that he's sort of given, he sort of said, personally, Flower and Journey OSTs sort of go-to relaxing soundtracks, and apparently Bastion's quite good as well. I can't recall those ones, to be honest.
I mean Journey was obviously it won an Grammy or an Emmy, which Grammy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that's like a very sweeping score. I haven't listened to it outside of the game. Flower's kind of very similar. Obviously, it's the same studio.
This game is something I need to kind of get into a bit more into. Well, not games, but as in terms of downloading soundtracks and things. Because I mean, you know, yourself and well, Alex as well. Obviously, you're into that kind of thing, and it would be quite good to have kind of atmospheric music like that, because so many games put so much effort into it, and especially I personally, I mean, this is biased to a rather large degree, but as in I think like Destiny and Halo, they've got the stuff, all the music that Marty McDonald's created over the years is outstanding. I mean, he's usually got kind of like monk-based chanting over kind of orchestral backing, but it's just, especially some of the Halo music, it's just unreal. It's really good. But actually, there's one I'd really like to find out who did it. But if we do something with the Halo Master Chief Collection when it comes out tomorrow,
throw it away.
Throw it away.
No, sorry, go
on. There's a scene in Halo 2 where you bust out into this big kind of open out area, and the brutes and the elites are fighting. It's like kind of the start of the Civil War, and there's a it kind of goes from kind of, you know, the orchestral kind of backing track directly into some kind of like heavy metal kind of like, you know, guitar stuff, and it's just like, it's amazing, kind of blows your mind.
That's what Halo always does though, doesn't it?
No, I mean, there is that track, which, there is one guitar track that's constantly kind of reminiscent of Halo, but in that moment there in Halo, I'm sure it's Halo 2, that was fantastic. But I was of the mind, I remember seeing a Bungie post of it at the time, that it was Incubus or something like that.
No.
Yeah, honestly, they were massive.
What happened to Incubus?
They were massive Halo fans at the time. I'm sure they got involved in one way or another, but I haven't. I'm sure I searched for it and I couldn't find it. But I'm sure it was. Maybe I'm massively mistaken. But it'd be interesting to see that bit. Still, I mean, I'm sure it survives the upgrading and the remastering of the tracks and everything. But that was amazing. There's a similar track in Destiny where it suddenly just breaks down from kind of this really kind of peaceful kind of score into this kind of just goes all hell breaks loose when a particular battle starts, and it's just fantastic. It really kind of sets the scene. It's just.
But you're playing them, though. That's the thing.
You what?
But you're playing them. What do you listen to outside?
Oh, exactly. Well, that's the thing. At the moment, I don't. But it's probably something I should actually get onto iTunes or other music providers are available, and download. I should probably get into that a bit more. I reckon the Mass Effect score would be really good as well. That had kind of similar kind of memorable moments to it, definitely.
Yeah.
And quite peaceful, relaxing kind of music. It's a bit more futuristic though, isn't it, than kind of the music I'm talking about with like Halo and Destiny and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so personally, outside, so I've got a few actually when I think about it. I'm gonna hopefully try and not forget how as I go along. So more recently has been Miami Hotline, and Blood Dragon, actually, both of which I've listened to.
Which one was the second game? Sorry.
Blood Dragon, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Yeah, actually, that was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I've got both of their scores, which I've been listening to separately. Just trying to think
Blood Dragon, that was so good.
Well, Cliff Martinez, who's probably my favourite composer, is doing Far Cry 4, which I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know, but I mean, obviously, stands to reason he'd be working for Ubisoft and that. But to be fair, the Marty McDonald, who does all the Bungie stuff and Destiny, he's left. I mean, he left under a cloud, and there was like a suit about him suing Bungie over kind of wrongful dismissal or something, some kind of mega argument over things. And you'd imagine he's going to, be highly sought after in the games industry. So it'd be quite interesting to see who picks him up. Given his, backlog of work or whatever.
Yeah.
Blood Dragon's an amazing call.
Yeah, that's the other one I listened to. There was another one, is the Silent Hill Akira Yamasawa. I think his name is, or something like that, if I've pronounced it correctly. His scores, generally any of them, but probably Silent Hill 2 score. That's when I was feeling like if I was writing or I needed to do something horror-based or something like that, I'd put that on. But that's the Silent Hill 1 soundtrack is just weird, and it's weird in a sense of it's a game soundtrack. They're not like composed pieces, it's just background music for the levels, if you know what I mean. Silent Hill 2's obviously got some actual tracks on there and stuff like that, and really good ones as well. And yeah, the rest are pretty good. 3 and 4 are pretty good. I don't think I've listened to anything post that. But that's outside of playing the game. I'm not just saying these are great scores, because I could go on with some more. But these are actual songs that I've bothered to listen to outside of playing the game. The only other one actually was the main title track for Assassin's Creed 3.
Ah, yeah. Actually, was that the one that was used in the advert though? There was a track that was used in the advert for one of the recent ones. Maybe it was Revelations, or I can't remember which one it was. Yeah, it was for Revelations, where Ezio was like an old man and he turned up in Turkey and a load of people sat on him and he was about to get hanged. The music they used for that was basically, it was really cool. It was like a kind of, there was a bit of rapping going on at the start. Well, no, so like spoken word kind of stuff, and then it kind of like came in with quite a bit of a bass line. But then pretty much every advert and media company seized upon it, and it was rinsed out within a couple of months. Like there were like 3 or 4 different other companies that were kind of just copying that song because they'd seen it used successfully in games, and it makes you lose the will to live when people do that, I think.
I mean, it was different. Was that this one was just like a orchestral score, but it was a really good one. And it's probably the only good thing about the game. But I think that's it. Just trying to think, wrap my brain a little bit.
That's the problem, is like thinking about it. I'm gonna have a look at game history.
The Rock Band games have some great.
Not really.
Great song.
Guitar Hero Metallica was great. What great.
Yeah, great soundtrack. That counts, right?
Yeah. I think we've been disqualified. There are no more questions coming in if we're going to treat questions like that.
No. I think the other it may be Metal Gear Solid 2. I think it was just Harry Gregson Williams, I believe. I think I listened to that outside of the game. Oh, that's it. There's a lot of games which I think where they've given me like a soundtrack disc with it.
So really? I've never seen that. I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's happened a few times.
I mean, obviously, I'm just looking at my game history now. I mean, obviously, kind of GTA games are. I mean, it's not really custom game music, is it? It's real world music's been selected by the developers to brought into the game. I mean, but they are quite they are quite influential because you spend so much time in the game and kind of setting a mood. And that, I mean, I pretty much put down. I would have to own up as saying that Grand Theft Auto 4 is the reason I got into LCD Sound System, more or less. I mean, because they had Get Innocuous on the soundtrack and and on the main advert, didn't they? And I rinsed that game and, it just kind of introduced me to it, and it was fantastic. Yeah, love it. Oh, actually, with Super Time Force, that might be worth downloading a soundtrack to.
I can't remember. I only played it when I was around.
That's probably quite similar to Blood Dragon, I would imagine. Deus Ex might be worth it as well. I'm not actually remembering these things, but as in it might be worth listening to.
Yeah, I think that you have to go with ones that particularly stand out.
Yeah, actually, Skyrim had a good title sequence anyway.
Yeah, but you're not listening to it outside of the game. You're just saying what has a good soundtrack.
I don't know that at all, but saying if I did, that would be one of them.
If I did.
When I do.
When you do. Okay.
And actually, Portal might have some decent kind of electronic beats going onto it as well.
Well, there you go. I tell you what, actually, another one.
Here we go.
Yeah, it was Rez.
Oh, okay.
And funny enough, I was reading a thing in Edge. They've got because I've always been banging on about Rez. When it came out, I was like, no one else had this game. And I was obsessed with it. I still, to this day, have not completed the final boss. I've got it on HD on the 360, and
much like your Final Fantasy X attempt.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like I still haven't got to the very end. I still don't know what it's like. And that will kill me one day. I might just watch someone play it, but then it's not right. It doesn't feel right. It feels like I have to do it personally.
I've been googling while I've been chatting, Sam, and let me quote from a website which would know, obviously halopedia.org apparently. Incubus is a somewhat popular alternative rock band. There you go.
Well, they were. God knows what they can do.
I'll cut out some of the guff, which they go on to cite the.
Who was the main singer again? What's his name?
Incubus, Brandon something.
Yeah, that's it.
Where they're from, etc. But basically, they created 4 songs for the Halo 2 soundtrack.
Well, check you. Well done.
Boom.
Facts correct.
Exactly, confirmed. So yeah, that is going to be interesting to listen to again. Yeah, cool.
Well, I think that's it. Is there any gaming news or anything that's been going on that?
And my mind has drawn a blank. Well, obviously the big kind of show, which is rather ashamedly changed my mind in an instant, where I was kind of thinking, I'm not going to bloody spend £40 on GTA 5 again. To within about 5 minutes of seeing that first-person perspective trailer, going right, where can I pre-order it? It looks great. Obviously the announcement is, sorry, before I go on a geek out on that, is that there's a not just on PC but on Xbox One and PS4. There's a first-person camera perspective for everything, for driving, for running around, for parachuting, for anything you want. Within the game, so you can play the whole game pretty much as an FPS if you want to. Looks fantastic, doesn't it?
Yeah, it did look good. So the next gen, the like PS3, PS4, at least video, which showed like the the upgraded graphics and stuff. Quite substantial. It's more substantial than what I thought it was.
I thought I wasn't actually blown away by that at the start of the video, because they were just kind of showing a lot clearer kind of like edges and higher polygon count, that kind of stuff. But then there was one. I think it's probably abuse of the video, but there was one scene where it didn't look like it was raining, but then they showed another scene where it did, and then the scene where it was raining in current gen, as in Xbox One, PS4. That there was all kinds of crazy reflections of the rain and of different surfaces and everything. It looked really, really nice, really good.
Yeah, I think they've populated it with more stuff as well, which helps.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before we clicked the on-air button. But there's twice the memory count for creating like custom maps and stuff. So if you create a custom map in GTA last generation, you could only put a certain number of different types of vehicles. So you could put almost infinite types of or number of jets in there. But as soon as you start adding a a jeep or a different type of truck or a tank or something, the memory count starts going up, and then once you've had like 4 or 5 of them and different weapons, you've reached a limit. In the new version, the limit is doubled, so you can create all kinds of chaos, and you're not as limited in your designs for doing that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. And then I guess the other news would be the rather interesting and quite cool feature that we kind of tested for PS4 last week.
SharePlay.
It's already been, I don't know how you would say, it's already had its first kind of controversy or kind of step back, which is basically that Call of Duty have disabled it. So the first game's come out, and it's now apparent that games can, if they want to, disable it by default and not let you play with your friends.
Yeah. So do you think this will be a common thing or what?
Well, I think it was Eurogamer did an analysis as to which games you can use it with. So it seems to be by developer rather than publisher. So Destiny's published by Activision as well as Call of Duty, but Destiny you can do SharePlay with no restrictions. I mean, SharePlay itself has a restriction of 60 minutes, after which you can just do it again. So there's no problem there. But then there were problems with some other games. I can't remember which ones now, but it was very much a mixed bag. So I don't know whether it's to do with patching, because the PlayStation also had a patch to make, what was it? There was some feature that wasn't working properly. So they've gone to the 4.02 or 2.02 version now, almost straight away after their last recent update. But yeah, I mean, it's not encouraging, is it, that such a cool feature has been nerfed almost straight out of the gate, like within about a week after it's been released.
If it's going to happen with one.
First major game that comes out has disabled it, and you start thinking, oh, you money grabbing bastards! Like it, I mean, you'd have to be pretty cheap to play that whole game, to play a game like
it takes now
anyway. But as in, it's still quite a cool alternative if you're not sure about a game, or if you probably won't play a game but you just want to see what it's like, or you just want to hang out with friends, kind of thing. It's a really.
If you're just stuck, like if you're just on a bit that you just I can't get past this bit, and someone's like, yeah, pass it over, I'll do it, I've done it before, or something like that.
It's a really good feature, but to have it disabled, like to have it up to the developers, like you just got to hope that there's going to be some developers that have got a bit more kind of sense about them, a bit more kind of free thinking than that, because it's just that's nonsense, isn't it?
Well, Ben, do you want to play some Alien Isolation on SharePlay?
They've got a problem with my internet.
Why don't you do it? Yeah. Why don't you do it for 10 minutes? I'll be really interested. See what you think.
Yeah. I'll let you know about that. Oh yeah, and the other news is not that we really use Steam ourselves, but as in
speak for yourself, mate.
Exactly. Ubisoft has removed several of their games from it. So the new Assassin's Creed and Far Cry 4 were listed on Steam in the US and the EU, but it's been removed for sale, and they're not saying whether it's going to be on sale for PC via Steam. And I've seen some speculation that's something to do with they're going to try and hold your breath here. They're going to try and increase the kind of scope for Uplay and bring it out into a store and try and kind of push that a bit more, which I really hope they don't bother, because that kind of service, who gives a flying shit?
Yeah.
Like, oh Jesus. So another way in which Ubisoft is annoying the nation. Yeah, cool.
Well, that's it.
That's
a nice short one this time.
What are you? Well, it makes a change. What are you? what are you playing this week?
I'm going to complete Alien, and then I'm going to take that back, and then I might. I don't know. I'm looking at Evil Within as it sits there on my shelf, and I should really do that. I tell you what, I'm going to do Alien Isolation. I'm going to do the DLCs for it, because they apparently only take half an hour.
Out already? DLC's out already? It's only been out a couple of weeks, isn't it?
There was two. Well, it came with two. Released with it, if you know what I mean. So I've got the Nostromo edition, which has one with it, and then there's a Ripley edition, which has two. And then I think they're releasing another 5 up until March or April next year. They're going to be doing it periodically, but I believe it's just more stuff on the ship for different people's perspectives. And to be honest, once I've done that, and the only reason I want to do the Ripley one and the two extra DLCs that you can get at the moment is because it's got the original Alien cast members' voices.
Okay.
And it's to do with the original Alien game. So like the Crew Expendable one is just after the aliens popped out, and then you're like crawling in the vents or something looking for it. And then the Last Survivor DLC, I think it is right at the end of the game when you're Ripley and you're just trying to get out. You're trying to survive. So I want to do those because I think that apparently that's quite cool, especially if you enjoy the film. So I'll do those, and then that'll take me up to next week, I reckon. But yeah, we'll see.
Cool, man. Well, I'm going to try and, although I keep on saying I'm going to dial Destiny back, I've been dialing it back in terms of like grinding, but now I'm like finding a few more things to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still cool. But I'm going to hopefully dial it back a little bit and try and dust off and send back, a dust off complete Black Flag.
Yeah.
And then I can move on with something else. But I really want to play the new Sherlock Holmes, that's the one, and D4. So they're the two I kind of really want to get to as soon as I can. But hopefully I'll get some fun this week. Get going.
Exactly. I'll see how I feel, and also I'll be completing 10 Final Fantasy 10 as well. Hopefully this time next week. If I haven't, then I probably will be punching myself in the face. Okay, well, that's it. So click over to thewildboar.com, BORE.com, where we have more gaming news, and you'll probably be able to read my Alien Isolation review up this time next week, perhaps. You can follow us on Twitter at thewildboaruk, or email us on thewildboartv@gmail.com. Any questions or anything like that, we are always open to everything.
Open for business.
Open for business. We're very open-minded. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the show, and me and Ben will see you on the next one.
Cool. See ya.
Bye.